All right, so hello everybody. Again, thank you for being here. Good to see familiar faces and some new ones. I just wanted to give a little background on Pandion first before we jump in with Noreen. So Pandion Music Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit. We just got our license in January of this year. But we've been running these workshops once a week since October. So it's been amazing meeting all different people from the music industry, from different areas of the music industry, and helping break down those barriers between emerging artists and industry professionals. And that's our goal, is to make it easier for emerging artists to access that information and for free, so that any artist and all artists can access it regardless of demographic or financial situation. So that is really our mission, and it's been amazing. We've already had a few partnerships since our launch, and we've got a couple more that are in the works right now. And actually, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, you should do that soon, because we have an announcement coming out for a new partnership that will be coming out this week, which will be happening at the end of the month. So that's exciting, and a lot more going on in the near future. So, Noreen, thank you again for being here. And
Of course, thank you for having me.
yeah, and Carl's and Rebecca are here also from Pandion, so they'll do a little wave or hello at some point.
Hi,
And might
Noreen.
pop in. Yeah, and so I'm excited to talk to you because I think we haven't really had anyone, we haven't had anyone on talk about publishing specifically yet. And we also haven't really had anyone that's had so much experience with artist management as you've had. So I'm really excited about that, especially because like that's the big thing with Pandion, is helping give resources to artists who want to kind of build their own careers and be their own managers. So it'll be
Like,
great to hear from you. So just to give a little background on Noreen, I'll just do a little introduction. She's currently the head of A&R at ATG Group, managing artists, songwriters, and producers in the pop and R&B space. And coming from Nashville, she's now living in Los Angeles, where she has experience working in as an A&R at Wide Eyed Entertainment, a management and publishing venture with Pulse Recordings, where she's worked with powerhouse Becca Tishker, with Julia Michaels, Becky G, Digenius, All Day, etc. And before that, she helped build the Grammy-nominated producer Busby's publishing label and venture with Warner Records, where she signed artists and songwriters under his mentorship. And she's also passionate about creating community within our music industry that's to build a space for creatives to connect with monthly songwriter hangs. So all that's amazing, and can't wait to talk to you today.
yeah,
Um,
great to chat to you guys too.
yeah. Do you want to I was thinking maybe just start by talking a little bit more about your A&R experience, and just to give people more of an idea in case some aren't familiar with exactly
Yeah,
what A&R is. That'd be
totally.
cool.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to be a songwriter and artist like you guys too. That's how I got into the industry. And I started interning in publishing companies to meet songwriters in Nashville and, like meet publishers. So I started, just, basically working in these companies to like listen to songs, network and stuff. Ended up getting a job at BMG Publishing in Nashville as my first job. And I was like learning as a publisher. I was like, oh, I just like listen to songs all day and I get to like think about like what artists would record them. So super cool. I get to, hang out with songwriters, like my favorite people. So I ended up kind of like leaving the idea of becoming a songwriter because I fell in love with publishing and being on the business side. And yeah, so A&R it's kind of a vague term, like what you're saying. It's artist repertoire is what it means, but on the publishing side, my goal is just to put songwriters and producers in rooms with artists or other writers and hopefully get the best song possible, and then pitch those songs to managers, labels, the artist directly sometimes, to hopefully have them record it and become the biggest song ever. And then, A&R also now in its interpretation is, I'm picking songs for an album for an artist, or, I'm helping find the right producer. And then I'm also doing deal negotiations for producers and songwriters and artists of, this song should cost this much to record or things like that. So yeah, so that's kind of like the overall generic version of A&R. But it's evolved so much. Like it really just, it used to be, I feel like a lot more like straightforward of like, okay, get the song and I pitch it to this label and that's how it gets cut. And it was a lot more linear. And now it's like doing kind of everything, which is fun. So yeah, so now that I'm just focused on the management side, it's kind of publishing, label, management, sometimes business manager, all the things in one. So yeah, it's been fun.
Cool. That's great. That's awesome. And so publishing it that it's I feel like it's also that's part of the industry that I think a lot of people don't really like see as much,
Yeah.
especially as like an emerging artist. It I think takes longer for you to get to the point where you have publishing versus other aspects of career kind of fall into place before that, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, would love to just hear a little bit more about that and like how that can help artists,
Yeah.
when an artist is ready for publishing, because that's also I think a question a lot is like, are you ready yet? Is it going to benefit you? Yeah, thank you.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everyone's different, of course, like when I was in Nashville, a lot of times publishing was actually the first thing you signed, even before a record label, because publishers are now doing a lot more of the development work that labels used to do, like helping you find the right writers, producers to connect with, helping develop your sound, helping you find the right manager or like booking agent. Like they're kind of filling these roles. Because with publishing, you're signing for usually more time. And, we can also talk about this later in the more nitty gritty of like the differences between an LA or like Nashville publishing deal. But there's usually a lot more like time and development and growth being put in on the publishing side. And a lot of times now with a record label, you're handing them usually like a finished product, like an EP or an album that they really weren't even a part of. They're helping kind of like the aftermath of it, like trying to market it and help after the fact. So yeah, so for signing to a publisher, it could be like when you're, just starting to have, some buzz or some songs coming out with maybe like a new artist, or if you're an artist yourself, you're having, maybe some blogs writing about you, you're playing some like shows, you're connecting with the right writers and producers, there's like you're just connected with the right people, I guess. So it could be that, it could be, you have a hit song. Like in COVID, this happened a few times with songwriters. It's like one of their first few songs went viral on TikTok and then it went to radio and they're like, I have a number 5 song at radio. Like, what? And maybe you just need help collecting those royalties and you need maybe like just an admin deal, like a Cobalt or something, or even admin deal with a major publisher. So it could be that, but a lot of times too, you're signing to a publisher for help with creative services. So like, yeah, helping finding the right session, the right writers, producers to connect you with, helping, work your back catalog, helping you just find like new opportunities. And it's also you're getting in advance. So, you can usually quit your day job, hopefully, and just focus on writing and being creative full time. And yeah, so there's a lot of, like good aspects for a publishing deal, but then I also get the reasoning behind not signing a publishing deal now. And a lot of times the managers are the ones doing that job. Like I'm doing that job for a lot of my clients that don't have publishers. And sometimes you feel like you don't need, a publisher, but yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to both. I'm happy to give both sides since I've done both.
Yeah, that would be, it would actually, yeah, I'd love to hear more about like kind of the pros and cons and
Yeah.
yeah, and what that is like for artists.
Totally. Yeah. I think like, when I was a songwriter and like was in school learning about all this, like it felt like signing a publishing deal was kind of the number one goal. And I feel like for a lot of my colleagues and stuff, it was like, okay, you signed a pub deal and like you've made it. But that's really when like the work starts, which I think we all know. Because you get a certain amount of money and also like that's kind of starts your clock a little bit. When you're in Nashville, say you get, an advance for the year, you don't have to pay that money back. Usually it's an MDRC deal or MDC deal. So you basically just have to write like 12 commercially viable songs for the year to meet your requirements. And in LA, you get an advance and you have to recoup that money back. So you're in your first option, you're in your deal until you recoup. So so yeah, so I think, a lot of times the cons are you're signing a publishing deal, and out here a lot of people have gotten stuck in deals and have a hard time moving through those options because your publishing income is coming from radio sync, mechanicals from like maybe like a foreign country, like a K-pop song. You're not getting that from like the streaming side of things. So it's a lot harder to recoup on a publishing deal when it's, you're trying to have it for only certain areas. So I think the cons of it are a lot of times people feel like they're signing for, help, but a lot of times some companies are, not able to give you the right service and things like that. So I really like think signing a pub deal only makes sense when you have someone who's really invested in you, really excited about what you're doing, can give you attention or certain access that maybe other people on your team can't give you. And or if you say like you're trying to buy a house or like a car or quit your day job, like because you are giving up, ownership of your copyrights for hopefully service. But yeah, it's still a big decision. I think a lot of people are like, oh, cool, like I'll sign a hub deal. This is great. But say you do have a hit song and you own your publishing, like think of how much more you're getting. You're getting your writer side, but also your publishing side. So yeah, so I think right now there's even a lot of benefits of just like holding out, having all the leverage in the world, using a publishing deal like a bank in a way. And yeah, that's kind of the pros and cons, I guess.
Is there, so for those who don't have publishing deals yet, because I think a lot here probably wouldn't, um, do you have any tips on, I think that a lot, and I had this confusion when I started writing too, when I started getting all of my stuff on PROs and learning more about sync was like, do I need to create my own publishing entity? And then I think what I've heard is that that helps because then you're able to collect that side too, and you're not losing out on it. And is that the same for all? Have you seen that that's the same for all PROs that they require a publishing entity, even if it's your own that you create, so that you can collect those royalties?
Yes, you should definitely do that. It's usually like $35, but like if anyone here doesn't have like a rep or someone at BMI or ASCAP, I can help with that. But a lot of times if you could just connect with someone there too, they'll waive the fee. But definitely have your own publishing entity to collect those royalties for sure. And then when you sign a publishing deal, you'll just have an LOD, a letter of direction, that those pub royalties would go to the bigger publisher, depending on obviously your deal. Maybe you have a co-pub or something. But yeah, a lot of times, you should definitely have your own publishing entity first.
Yeah, great. Cool. Yeah, because that I think that isn't really talked about as much. Just
Yeah,
like the fact that you should make that when you start to get involved in sync and just getting your music up on the PROs.
totally.
Um, if anyone has questions, go ahead and drop them throughout the call today. That's great. And then we can bring you in if you want, or we can just read your question. Um, and
I think we have one
Ingrid
from
looks like
Ingrid.
asked,
Yeah.
yeah, are you ever on a team for a publishing deal? Is
Um,
team, does that mean like, are you talking about Ingrid, like do you have a team for your like as your publishers instead of one agent? Or are you asking about like, we could just bring, I guess, do you want to just jump on for a second, Ingrid?
Yeah, have her ask directly, maybe.
I just realized that would be easier. Um,
I'm trying to unmute Ingrid.
oh,
Maybe she's not at her computer.
oh yeah. Okay,
oh,
right, with
like,
others.
are you saying like, would you ever sign as like a duo or something, like a writing duo?
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe she can't talk. Should we circle back to that one?
Oh yeah, we'll come back to you, Ingrid. Let's get
If it's like a producer writer duo, though, that sometimes does happen. If she's asking like kind of like a duo or like a
oh,
band,
okay.
like a
Yeah,
writing,
yeah.
that sometimes
Right,
does
I think
happen.
she's writing with others.
True. Do you work with bands ever, Noreen, or are you more just with songwriters, like specific?
I usually focus on like one artist or writer at a time. There is like a producer duo that I do work with called Young Sab, and they produce for others, but also put out songs themselves. So that is someone that I work with. But yeah, there's definitely occasions where like producers like Captain Cuts or like the Futuristics, like producer duos, and people have like kind of one name under them. Like Monsters and Strangers is 5 people. So there are like collectives and things like that that, you know, would produce like maybe the whole Selena Gomez album or whatever. But then there's individual people within them. So sometimes publishing deals are structured though for like teams, if that's what the question is.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Oh, she was saying, do you get paired with other writers to turn out like a
Oh
12
yeah.
songs or EP? Or,
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
Yes, that's like a main part of their job, is to help connect you with other writers, producers in their own company, and then also outside their roster to help get those songs. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it feels it's actually like when you think about it as just like a publisher or publishing company being like that coordinator almost to like bring
Yeah.
and like help you network or like help you get those contacts that you wouldn't have
Yeah.
as a songwriter. It's really cool. Okay, Stefan, I'm gonna ask you to come on if you'd like to ask a question.
All righty, sure. Can you hear me? Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right,
Hello.
awesome.
How are you?
All right, so my question, I hope it's not too technical. So it's kind of on the structure of publishing, right? So I'm in the Caribbean. I have a production company, and I work with multiple artists. And in a lot of cases, there are artists that don't have publishing, and of course could lose out on that, right? So in instance, I have some stuff set up to kind of assist with that, kind of, I guess, handle the admin.
Mhm.
Now, my company, Just in Time, we have ASCAP Publishing, and we have BMI Publishing. So we sign up with the PROs with publishing. So again, I know it's pretty nested. So my question is those registration sufficient coverage, or do you need to still have like sign up with Harry Fox Agency to cover, to make sure that you're collecting everything? Would just the PRO registration be sufficient, or is there still stuff in the hierarchy that you need to have coverage?
Yeah. So making sure too, you're not saying that like every writer is signed up with ASCAP and BMI, they're signed up with one or the other, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So
Cool,
exactly. So we would have. So I have a ASCAP publishing as well as BMI publishing in case one is with
any
the
of the
other.
writers fall under. Perfect.
Exactly.
Okay, good. Making sure. But yeah, 1,000%. You should be signing up with Harry Fox as well. There are admin companies like a Song Trust that would take 15%, but like would register everything for you. Because the PROs, it's just performing royalties. So if artists are performing those songs live, it's half streaming income. If it's played in like a bar somewhere, and like if it's played in a mall, but yeah, your mechanical royalties aren't being collected. So you want to make sure that you're signed up with Harry Fox as well.
Okay, so in case on the other end, Song Trust could be sufficient. So if you sign up with Song Trust, you wouldn't need the Harry Fox, or is it a
Song Trust signs up for everything for you, basically. So yeah, Harry Fox, like all of the little like foreign royalty collection agencies, PROs as well, like it covers everything. So you wouldn't leave anything out. Like they obviously charge something like a 15% fee off the top, but a lot of times people want to do that just to not have to worry about registering everything, or if they're missing things, because they have like a whole data analytics team, making sure they're collecting everything. Or like something like MLC is another good one too for songwriters. So so yes, I would just make sure that you're covering all your bases.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
Amazing.
We actually have someone on from the MLC next week. So if you're interested in learning more about mechanical royalties, that'll be perfect. Yeah, awesome. Were there any other questions? Let's see. Oh my gosh, sorry, I just got so far back in the chat somehow.
Stephanie Wright has a question.
Oh, great. Stephanie, did you want to come on to ask it, or do you want us to read it out?
I'll ask to unmute and see if she...
Okay, cool.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, great. Yep.
Hi. Sorry, I can't put my video on, but I typed it out. Basically, Noreen, in the start of my sync journey, I was told that if you signed up with BMI, that they forwarded the publishing to your writer's account, and so that I didn't need a publishing account. Since then, I have established a publishing account, but I'm wondering if I should go back and like, I have a catalog of like 40 songs that it basically just reflects my writer's account with BMI. I'm wondering if I should just kind of put my head to the ground and go and like redo all my split sheets and one stops and like have it reflect the publishing. I'd have to inconvenience all of my co-writers by having them like re-sign the contracts and everything. Like I would do the legwork, but I'm wondering like, is it worth it, or do you recommend doing that?
I think so. Yeah, I would do that just to make sure everything's okay. I mean, like, are all those 40 songs to like generating revenue?
No, not yet. Like most of them are signed with sync agencies,
Okay.
but
You
no.
also could just wait till some of them get placed. Like you can do them as they're getting placed because they also
Okay.
if you're back pays, you know.
Yeah, okay. That actually seems more reasonable. Because like if
Do
it actually gets a
everything.
placement, then yeah, to just kind of like check it off one at a time.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
So
Yeah.
I was actually told the same. I have BMI as well, and I remember when I was told the same thing, that I didn't need another, like that BMI did it differently, and that you didn't need a
Okay.
public, like a self-publishing entity if you didn't have
Okay.
an actual like a publisher. But that was, I think that they either changed it or that
Oh,
was just incorrect information, because I since then have heard that you do actually need one. So that was,
yeah,
that was a bit
that's so
confusing.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, I recently like was talking to someone at BMI and linked them with one of my writers to set up their pub entity and stuff. So and maybe it is recently changed, but yeah, I would definitely just like make sure all your bases are covered and stuff. It's really hard because I think this is what's so cool about this is like so much of this information is like, you know, misread, or like it's almost like, you know, telephone, and you're like, okay, it's
Yeah.
one of these, I think, but like it's like it's really hard to find information on a lot of this stuff, and like a lot of books, you know, change so fast, the information changes so much, like so yeah, so I always just think it's best to like just cover your bases, just, you know, um it's
Mhm.
they make it so hard for us to get our money, but it's important.
Yeah, definitely. Michelle, would you want to come on and ask your question?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Jordan. Hi, everybody. I just
Hi.
I just wanted to add to that. It's very important and imperative to have a publishing company yourself. And if you didn't have one and now you have one, you should get those songs attributed to your publishing account as well as your writer's account immediately. Don't wait. Because if you're pitching for sync to begin with, you won't be able to, because the music supervisors automatically know you're not professional. Right? If you're working and want to get your mechanicals, like physical mechanicals, say from Harry Fox or Music Reports, they only work with publishers. They do not work with songwriters. And so you can't get that money. You can get that money from the MLC as a songwriter, but not from all the other entities. Further, the reason why, as CSAC, I'm a CSAC member, CSAC makes you have a publishing company. But the reason why ASCAP and BMI don't is because they're banking on us all to fail. They are banking on us all to stay amateurs, not to be professionals. And we, all of us here, are here because we are professionals, want to work as professionals. And so don't wait. And also, if I may jump in, don't use Songtrust if you want to work in sync. Songtrust will encumber your songs. So I just had to chime in on that, Steph and
Thank
Noreen.
you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Thanks,
Yeah, thank you
Michelle.
so much for that.
Yeah, that's what I was actually, I think that that's why the MLC came about specifically, is because there wasn't a place for individual songwriters to get the mechanical royalties, and there were like millions of dollars just being lost for songwriters, because if you didn't have a publishing company, it had nowhere to go to find you. And so that, yeah, it's amazing that the MLC is there
Yeah,
now.
but that's not why the MLC came
They-
about at all. It had nothing to do with it. It's just that the MLC happens to acknowledge self-administrated songwriters. The MLC
Yeah.
came out because of the Music Modernization Act, because the streaming services were not distributing that money and not finding the matches. There
Right.
were so many people releasing songs that it wasn't matched. That's why it came about. And the MLC is only for the US, for streams in the US. So,
True.
but, but it didn't come about because of independent songwriters.
Thanks. Great.
Yeah.
Lori, did you want to ask a question as well?
I've had so many comments about a lot of this stuff. First, to the Caribbean gentleman, I just want him to definitely know that he needs to apply to all of them. Sound Exchange, MLC, Harry Fox, music. If he's handling all the stuff, and I mean, I have a weird situation because I've been I started my own publishing thing through BMI right from the beginning, like I think when I was in college. And so I've always had both. And I found that when I started collaborating with people, it just made it so much easier when they did too, just because it's just easier to split things up. When you have someone who is a songwriting member, it's not that they still are owed the publishing, right? But it's just so much easier to collaborate when you have that. But I recently signed into an admin thing, which hasn't been mentioned. And admin, I can tell you from the moment that I started working with them, I felt really taken care of. And I'm a member of all of those agencies that I did all the busy work myself. However, they still need it. Like they're going to do it for you if you don't have it, but they'll ask you for it. So it's really important to have your stuff in a row. Because if you want a pub admin job, I'm a publishing administrator. It really helps to have your ducks in a row. And I'm just learning this literally in the past couple of months because I've been feeding them all of my codes and numbers and passwords and stuff like that. But the reason I have them, and I just want to bring this up, is because of the foreign royalties, which often just stay on the table. You can't really, BMI and ASCAP, they don't really collect those for you. And a publisher or a publishing admin will sign you up with all of those PROs around the world. I'm sorry, I'm not very articulate right now. I don't know why. But and also thank you for being here, the publishing one that's here. So I just maybe to speak to publishing admins and the difference between them and publishers. My question would be, have you ever heard of publishing admin doing like working the sync side? Because I have a lot of my songs that I've in sync agencies that I've done myself, but at this point, do they ever do that, or is they're just basically doing more of the administration of copyrights and royalties and stuff?
Yeah. So you're asking if any of the pub admin companies pitch for sync?
Yeah, I haven't asked them that. I'm just curious because I didn't even think about it.
I think some of them do. Like I think Song Trust does now that it's under Downtown too. And I know Cobalt does too. So I think some of them do. I think it just depends. And yeah, but for a lot of times, like, if it's like if it's say you're, a songwriter that just had like a big song, we're talking about like a viral moment or whatever, and you're signing an admin deal with Universal or Warner Chappell, sometimes they're less incentivized to pitch those for sync because they have a lesser share, so sometimes I feel like they say they pitch for sync and you're like, I'm sure they're pitching things that they own like 100% of or like 50% of more, but who knows, but definitely do think there are some.
Well, I recommend a publishing admin if you can, because I just even putting up my music video, they sent me over, all of a sudden I had a team of 3 guys in another country who were all literally putting it up for me and doing all this stuff while we were talking on the thing. And then it was like, okay, it's all ready. It's going to go live, on the date that you set. And it was just, I've done so much work on my own. Like Michelle, I know that she's also like done tons of her own work. And it felt good to be taken care of a little bit. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Lori. Noreen, do you want to talk about maybe, curious if you have any advice for people who would want to get set up with a publishing agent or somebody that could help them with that, who might not have one?
For like purely administration? for like royalties?
I guess maybe both sides, if you want to actually get signed, or if you just want to have someone help out with administration.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I said before, it's so not linear sometimes for like for getting signed to a publisher that, gives creative services and stuff. A lot of times it's literally just like who meeting someone at a party, like meeting someone at a show, and you're like, oh, you work at BMG or you work at Universal, or you're like, you work at this publisher. You start sending them songs and they put you in some sessions, rooms, those go well. And it's kind of like dating. Like it's like you're meeting these people that hopefully, will be a part of your career for a long time and really believe in you. So I would say like it's really just starting with people that people that you enjoy working with, because you are usually going to have to talk to them every day. So you have a good creative dialogue with them. They respond in a timely manner. They put you in sessions that you like, and you feel like they get you. So I think a lot of it starts from there. And yeah, like I mean, I never am also afraid of a cold DM. Like I answer all of my DMs. I know a lot of my friends will always check out music sent to them, if it's obviously done in a nice way. And so I say like that's one way. And then the administration side, like a lot of them are just, you sign up and you give a percentage off the top. So they're pretty easy. So yeah, I'd say like that's kind of, those are the best ways, but everything's so different. It could be, yeah, you're an artist, you're playing out live, and a publisher's just a fan of your music and wants to be a part of that. So yeah, it really depends.
Great. Stefan, do you want to come back and chat?
Yeah, so just a quick well, first thank you, Michelle and Noreen, for your chime in. That definitely was helpful to what addition to what Noreen said. So I mean, just to kind of reiterate and confirm, so you think the best recommendation would be to kind of have all so do the publishing admin as well as the Harry Fox and the MLC, etc. I guess just to have that coverage, because I mean my thought always was kind of, is it redundant? But it may not just be that situation. It can be everybody gets different things, and I guess it's just having the collective 360 information and being able to, I mean, make informed decisions from having all of that information. Yeah, that's what I'm gathering.
Yeah, definitely, because you're like the PRO side could be redundant, but at the same time, maybe they'll find something that was registered incorrectly, or they're like sometimes PROs just mess things up. So sometimes with MLC or like Sound Trust, it's like having just an extra set of hands for those types of things are helpful. But yeah, it's covering your bases on the things that you're not registering with.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, these are all great questions. Thanks, everybody. And yeah, there's just so many little nitty-gritty details to this, so it's always good to get all the questions out. Jody was asking if you ever take on writers that are not performing artists.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I have purely writers, I have purely producers. So yeah, and then I have writers, artists, all the combinations.
Cool. What's your favorite part of the publishing side of the industry to be involved with?
Yeah. I mean, I love it because it's such a connection type of, industry. It's such a, like, my job is literally connecting writers together, helping someone find their new favorite producer. Like, so I love the connection side of it. And publishers all get to work together. Like a lot of times labels, agents, managers don't get to like talk to each other or like work together. But for publishing, you need each other to do your job. I need my friends, writers and producers, and we all share information. And it's like, we, all get to go to each other's parties and things like that. And other parts of the industries are a lot more segregated. So a lot more split off from each other.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like such a networky thing to be involved with. That would be really cool. Yeah. Awesome. Does anyone else did I miss any questions on here? I feel like I might have, but maybe not. I think I got all of them. Okay, great. If anyone else has more questions, feel free to pop them in or come raise your hand.
I have a question actually. Have
Yeah.
you ever gotten to know a writer just through social media DMs, or is it, as you say, just like a face-to-face networking thing?
Oh
How?
yeah, yeah, for sure. Definitely through DMs. Like, someone reaches out to me, sends me music, I give them my phone number, email too. We do like a FaceTime or Zoom or meet up in person if they're in LA. Yeah, definitely it's led to a lot of things. And then we were saying in my bio, what Jordan had said, like I host these writer hangs once a month in LA, and writers, producers, artists all come together, play songs for each other, meet, network. And I have A&R's managers come to that too. There's an Instagram, it's called What Are Pop Hangs. And I post the dates there too. But that's another way too to network with people. If they come in my DMs too, I'm like, oh, come to this, like we'll meet, and you'll meet a bunch of other people too. So that's like another way.
Awesome, thank
Cool.
you.
Is anyone able to show up to those, or do you have to sign up?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a sign up link usually, but anyone's able to come. We try to
Cool.
limit like just like 25 songs we used to do everyone, but it's grown to like 80 to 100 people at a time now. So it's gone crazy and we'll be there all night. So
Cool. That's awesome.
it's at What Are Pop Hangs. What Are Pop Hangs? The Instagram.
Cool.
I could put it
What are
in
pop
the
hangs?
chat too.
Yeah, that'd be great. Cool. Oh, it looks like, oh yeah, Ingrid dropped it
Perfect.
in there.
There you go.
Awesome. Thanks, Ingrid.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, of course.
Valerie is asking, what do you look for specifically in a writer?
It's so different, I hate saying that it's different for every person, but for my roster, I like to at least have, if I bring someone on, they hopefully fill a spot that I don't have yet. Like if I don't have like a lyricist or a melody person or someone that, does more reggaeton, or if someone does more sync stuff, or because you're hopefully, giving your time and attention to each person individually, and you're not having your roster compete within each other. So that's one thing. And then, as I'm getting to know someone, if they're, like if I'm putting them in sessions, they're showing up on time, they're not canceling, like I'm getting good feedback from the other writers, producers. I'm usually putting them with my people too, and just getting feedback from them. If if there's just like a good creative dialogue, like I said before, like, they respond quickly to me and they send me songs and like they receive feedback well. And yeah, I think like it's just such a partnership and relationship. So it's got to be the right fit. And like, I want to be able to bring the right type of value to them. I want them to bring the same type of value to me as well. And it's such a like 50-50 partnership.
Cool. Yeah, it's always like, I think people wanting to get more involved in songwriting and collaboration. It's great to hear kind of what you're looking for. And yeah, that's great. Cool. That was, I think, the last question on here.
I would
Yeah,
also add to that too, just even like someone with a unique point of view or perspective too, or just a point of view in general. And that could just be for pure writers or artists too. But yeah, I would say when I get songs that are really like, I can tell that this person wrote this song. Like I love that when there's kind of that point of view.
Cool. Are there any other resources also, I guess for songwriting too, that you know of that you would want to share? Or we can also talk about that at the end if you want to think on it. But yeah, or any, if people are looking for publishers or anything like that, any other resources that might help?
I would say like NSAI. When I was in Nashville, I did a lot of events with them. In LA, like writer's block shows, or like hotel cafe shows and stuff like that. And then yeah, like the pop hangs that I told you about too. But yeah, I don't really know other ones, but I would love to know more if anyone else has ones to share in the chat too.
Cool. So I've also heard, I feel like my first introduction to publishing was kind of on the like a negative side of things, because I was hearing from people like, oh, like beware of publishing deals and stuff like that, and like don't sign with a publisher unless they're offering you something like you cannot refuse, like it's a huge deal. So is there anything you have kind of to say about that, or like how an artist could make sure that they're getting into the right deal and they're not making a mistake with a publisher, getting into it too early or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, definitely having a good attorney for sure too.
Yeah.
And most publishers pay for the attorney fees, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I mean, I think it is scary sometimes because yeah, it could be a long-term partnership that you're entering into. Like I said, the LA ones, you're usually recouping that amount of money. So if you're getting $100,000, like you're like, okay, will I get a few syncs this year? Well, do I have a song in the pipeline that I think could like recoup this back in a reasonable amount of time? I think too, like now, I'm seeing a lot more negotiable terms, and you can get creative with deals where you could ask about, if I say I recoup 2/3 of this deal within the next 2 years and I can move into my next option, or like there's a buyout clause. So like if I'm not recouping, I can still at least just like maybe pay back the money and just be able to get out free. Or like have another publisher buy you out. Having those types of clauses in there helps a lot, or like a time limit, of like if it's been 10 years and I haven't recouped this amount of money, I'm out no matter what, or like there's got to be just like parameters set in place so that it can be less scary. But at the same time, it's like publishing is just one way of making money, one revenue stream. Like writing, producing, you can make money other ways too. So even if you're not seeing you're recouping on that side, it's like you can get writer fees, production fees. You can do things on the side too, and like do vocal production, and like there's other ways I think to get to get by, obviously too, if it's not coming through that way.
Great. Yeah, that's I think another question I had also was, is there anything about the publishing industry side of things that is like that you're seeing is changing right now, or that you foresee changing in the future? Is there anything about your job that's like different than it used to be, or anything like that? Because it's always interesting with how quickly things are changing in the music industry, and another reason why it's so good to get information out and find reliable information. Just
Yeah, no, for sure. I think a lot of it has changed, with just like talking about how making money and stuff too. Like I think it's positive, at least. Like there's definitely a lot more ways to make money, like I said. And you can get creative with things, and there's a lot more opportunity because there's so many more artists. Like, it used to be a few years ago, even like a label would sign like 5 artists and like that's it. And like that's the only way you can make money and get songs with those artists. But now it's like so many artists that are independent have budgets and are staying independent for a reason, and they do distribution deals, and they own a lot more of their masters, so they can give master points to writers and producers too. And like there's a lot more creative ways to work with people, and it's exciting because anyone can blow up at any time now too, with like TikTok. Like it's
yeah.
like anyone can like overnight have a song that reaches 12 million views and is going to radio next week. It's crazy. So it's exciting because yeah, it just used to be a lot more like linear, and like just you have to do these steps first and more hierarchical. But and in that way too, like it sometimes is more unpredictable in ways where it's like it could be really random, and you're like, wait, that's the one, or like that's the artist that's blowing up. But yeah, it kind of just keeps us on our toes. And yeah, I'm curious to see what AI does. I'm sure we're all talking about that too, seeing how like Grimes is letting everyone use like her vocals, and seeing what happens with that, with the writer strike too, seeing how that will maybe affect music at all. But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I'm curious to see like just how streaming evolves, and how radio evolves. Like if people will still be listening to radio in a few years, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
there's see how like sync is affected too with the writer strike, with that income. Yeah, like I think like I'm just seeing a lot more artists wanting to own everything, own masters, own creative control, like not co-write as much because they want to be so involved in the process and stuff. And yeah, so it's cool in a lot of ways, and there's just more fun challenges to figure out.
Always something new for sure. And it's
Yeah,
hard to
right.
predict sometimes too what's going to happen with everything.
Yeah.
Do you mind giving like a little like day in the life kind of for a songwriter and artist who would sign with a bigger publisher and what it looks like after that? Like how often are they in communication with the publisher? How much, I'm sure this also depends on who it is, but
Yeah.
what's like the average kind of communication and involvement they have directly with publishers, and then when they get set up with other songwriters too, how that kind of looks?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, majors versus like an independent publisher, it's so different. Like for major publishers, like it's a lot, maybe less communication because they have a lot more writers usually. Unless you're just like really like involved with someone there with an A&R. And the independent publishers, I would say a lot more. Like for me on the management side, I'm getting sent ideas from the publishers like, hey, would this writer want to work with this artist or producer, or like they're in town for this week, or are they interested in working with this person and targeting this project, or like they're sending me, hey, just got this brief for this artist, like do you have any songs that would fit, or and the writers sometimes are on copy too, so it's kind of constant communication about like just opportunities like sessions or pitching songs. And then like they're letting us know if they got any songs on hold or cut, and with that, and helping with splits and stuff. But I'm doing more of the negotiations on that side, and they're registering everything. If there's any sync opportunities, if they're doing any camps, if they're like, hey, we're doing a camp in Vegas this week with these artists in mind, or we're bringing in these artists and their A&Rs, like would this writer want to be involved? So it's a lot of just constant communication about opportunities. Sometimes maybe it's me hitting them up too, or the writer hitting them up about, oh, is this artist working? Can I get in with them? And we're just talking about dates and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of just like back and forth about that. Different all the time for sure. But on the management side, it's like even more involved in that too, because I'm talking about deals and making sure everyone's getting paid and chasing down money, and helping negotiate on production deals and things like that too. So yeah, just constant
Cool.
talking about everything always.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot to coordinate at once, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Cool. Does anyone else have any? We're getting towards the end of the call, so if anyone has any more questions, pop them in now. And I think Stefan was asking how you could be reached if I'm wondering if that's maybe for follow-up questions or just for connections. And I know we will be doing, if you're still comfortable with it, the Ask Me Anything thread on our Facebook group.
Yeah.
So for the next till Friday, if anyone has any follow-up questions, feel free to drop it in the Creators Circle thread, and then Noreen will get to those by the end of the week. But yeah, if there's other ways to contact you too, that'd be great to know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I could send through my email here, or Instagram DM too is honestly probably easier sometimes too. I can just send you my email on there.
Cool. Great. Yeah, everyone go follow. And then also the songwriting group sounds really cool. And I think if anyone, so that's all, is that in LA, or is there are there virtual opportunities too, or is it just in person?
We were doing virtual ones in COVID, but we haven't done one in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, so mostly LA, and I know in Nashville they're doing some as well too.
Okay, cool. I'm sure there's like so many songwriting groups too. So if people are located in other places, I'm sure there's something around you.
Start one.
But yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, but if you're in LA, definitely check that out. Sounds awesome. Cool. Well, if there's anything else that you want to share before you leave, Noreen, but this is awesome. Thank you so much.
I think so. Yeah, just everyone keep writing, and protect your art and your time and your ideas, and just keep going. I know it's tough, but it's worth it, and we get to make music and magic for a living and create something out of nothing. It's amazing. And we don't have to work in a bank or so
a lot to be grateful for as a musician.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much again. This was amazing.
Guys, thank you for having
so much
me.
Good information.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye,
Thanks,
Noreen.
everybody.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.